Okay, guys, no talking. 20 seconds. We don't need y'all's noise in the background.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Matt Ridge's Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole. To my right here is head coach of the Storm, Matt Ridge, the athletics director here as well. We've got Patrick Stevens, engineering tonight, and KT Tatum on our camera. So we welcome you to the show. We got a great first show for you tonight, first show of the year, so real excited. We're going to be talking about last night's home game against Richard Bland. We'll touch a little bit over last Saturday's win over another D1 opponent, Gaston Community College. And then we'll get a sneak preview of this year's team, Coach, and talk about the 18th upcoming season of Storm basketball. We've got a special guest tonight. I think the assistant professor of mathematics, Kevin Egan, going to be with us. And Aiden Taylor and Dane Stewart going to be stepping in and doing our player interviews. So we're excited to get started.
I always look forward to the coaches show. Miles, thank you for all you do. It's exciting to have Kevin here tonight. He does so many things for us behind the scenes. And, of course, my players over here to the right, they've been going at it hard since late August. So, you know, the preseason is a grind, and it's fun now that we're actually to the games. And we've started off with two tough D1 opponents. And it's been great to get out and get 2 dubs.
Well, before we start on this year, let's talk about finishing up from last year. We didn't have a final show of the year, and if you would talk a little bit for us last year. 35-2, you were 21-1 in conference play, finished third in the national tournament. Give us a little bit about your comments on last year's accomplishments, as well as some of the challenges you and your coaching staff faced as you put together the program for this year.
Well, you know, it's the 5th year in a row we've won the regular season, which I think is one of the most challenging things to do, is to win the regular season, not just the tournament, but the regular season is a grind. It's, you know, to stay consistently good night in and night out is tough. When we went 21-1 in the regular season, of course, won the tournament for the 5th year in a row and advanced all the way to the Final Four for the 4th time in the history of the program in 18 years. So we're really proud of what we did last year, but a lot of those guys who played significant minutes are gone. And this group to my right is the guys that we're focused on now. We're proud of what we've done in the past. We're basing our pride on the future. And this group to my right has an unbelievable high ceiling. And it's my job to get them to play at that level, and I take that very seriously. And I'm excited about this game we got coming up Saturday and the growth of this team going forward.
Well, I know one of the other things that you're very thankful for is both of your coaches are returning for another year. Coach Dumas coming back for his 2nd year. Coach Allen into now his 7th year with you. Tell us a little bit about what those guys mean to you, the team, and really the success of the program.
Well, we talk about Storm family, and those 2 guys are a huge part of just that. It's impossible to do what we've done year in and year out with great assistants. And obviously Coach Allen and Coach Dumas are my current assistants, but I've had so many incredible assistants in 18 years. But those 2 guys specifically, I mean, behind the scenes, they're out recruiting. I mean, last night we had one on the road recruiting while we were running practice. I mean, it's a grind. It's an everyday commitment to text, call, send letters with recruiting. And then, of course, with our guys here, they're taping ankles. They're helping run practice. I mean, breaking down film, typing up scouting reports. I mean, it's an endless list of things that have to get done to prepare for our just to be, you know, win one college basketball game. And a lot of people don't realize the time and the commitment it takes to get these guys prepared just to win one game. So, you know, Coach Allen and Coach Dumas spent a tremendous amount of time away from their family making sacrifices for the Storm family. So really, really blessed to have not just 2 great assistants, but they're great role models for these guys to look up to that can hopefully help them not just win on the court, but especially off the court.
Well, right out of the gate this season, you guys ranked number 1 in the nation. The rankings came out, and as if you need another target on your chest, right, with the history of the school here and the program. Does that put unwanted pressure on the team right out of the box? And how do you keep them really focused away from that and on getting better?
Several comments about that. Number 1, rankings are goofy. the year we went 31-1 5 years ago, we were ranked number 2 in the country late in the year, and then when it came time to seed us for the national tournament, they seeded us 7th. So I don't put too much stock in the rankings. The rankings in this level, I think, is based on your history, especially in the preseason poll. And we've had some success the last 5 years, so I think a lot of that ranking was because of the success. We've been to 3 Final Fours in the last 4 years. Played for 2 national championships in the last 4 years. So, we've had some success the last 4 years, and I think we've finally started to get some respect around the country with the poll voters. And in my 18 years, we've been ranked 2nd, we've been ranked 3rd, we've been ranked 4th in the preseason poll. But this is the first year, I don't know if you know this, this is the first year we've been preseason ranked number 1 in the country. And it's an honor, but it means nothing. We've won 2 games, no conference games yet. We haven't played one, so we've got a lot to prove to keep that ranking. And at the end of the day, ranking really only should help you down the road once you make the national tournament, if we're blessed enough to do that again. So we're excited about it. I mean, it does help with recruiting, I think, a little bit, but in the big picture, it doesn't mean much.
I know some teams can use it as motivation against you guys too. Being close to the bench last night, I can tell you that was being said a lot from the coaching staff, actually, Richard Bland. You guys are playing the number 1 team in the country. Hey, you guys are only down. So they were using that as motivation for their team, which you would expect. October 6th. That was the Brinkley Bash. Fun. That's fun to do that, the annual Brinkley Bash. We had, of course, the ring ceremony where we recognized the team for the 3rd place finish last year, and the fans were also treated to the 3-point shooting contest, the dunk contest. We're going to talk about that a little bit later with Dane Stewart, as well as the blue-gray scrimmage, and the fans packed it out here like they always do. Before we talk about the team, I'd like for you to talk a little bit about the fan support here, not only at things like the Brinkley Bash, but certainly at the home games.
So I think the layout of our gym and the number of loyal fans that we have coming to our home games consistently creates an atmosphere that's certainly fun for these guys to play in, but just as important, it's a difficult place for opponents to come in here and get a win. And I think our record has shown that over the last 18 years. We haven't, knock on wood, lost at home in 5 years. And I think our fans should feel a lot of ownership of that. They provide a lot of energy for our players. I know our players love playing in front of a lot of people, and they certainly have done that a lot over the last 18 years. And the Gaston game is a prime example of that. Miles, I know you weren't able to be here that night. You were with Guilford College football, but it was slam-packed to the point where we almost had to shut the doors and not let anybody else in. So just really, really, really happy and proud that there's so many loyal fans in this community that doesn't have a relative directly tied to them, but they come out night after night after night. And some of them travel. I mean, we got a lot of fans that go to nationals with us every year. So just so blessed to have so many loyal fans that are part of our Storm family.
So in the blue-gray game, only 10 players dressed out were able to play. You had some injuries, illness coming into the season. How are we from a health perspective now? A month's kind of passed now that the season started.
We still got some guys with some issues. Ethan's hip still bothering him. Kobe twisted his ankle about a week and a half ago. Javier had an appendectomy about a month ago or so. Corian's nursing his knee. David, of course, has the ongoing knee problem, and KT, of course, has his set of issues with his knee. I may have missed 1 or 2 there, but obviously we have 16 guys in the program now, and I think I just named 6 that have got something going on. But it's not unusual. I mean, injuries are part of college athletics, and, my philosophy is kind of like the NFL, next man up, and we recruit as hard as we do, so we are deep. And when your number's called, like last night, we had 2 guys, or actually 3 guys out last night. You got to be ready to step up and play when you get your opportunity.
Well, for the fans that couldn't make it to the Brinkley Bash or to our first 2 home games, tell us a little bit about the team this year. Who do we have returning, and who are some of the newcomers that we're going to be following this season?
Well, I could talk about all 16 of them, but 3 returning players that actually played last year. That's Ethan, Aiden, and Kobe. They all 3 contributed last year, and they're all 3 going to contribute this year. And then Dane and KT were redshirts last year. Unfortunately, KT had the injury late in the summer, so he's going to have to redshirt again. Unfortunately, we were excited about him getting to play. But you saw last night how vital a redshirt can be from one year to the next. I mean, Dane was the best player on the court last night, not just for us, but both teams. And, he worked while he waited with an incredible attitude last year. And so for me and a lot of our players, it was neat to watch him have so much fun and success and have supreme confidence like he did last night, because he's worked his butt off with an incredible attitude. And those are the reasons, those are the young men why I coach. It's fun to coach guys like Dane that are yes, sir. They take coaching well. They don't get an attitude. He's just a joy to coach.
Well, we kicked the season off with you got a brutal non-conference schedule too, but kicking the season off with the Rhinos of Gaston College, a team that we're familiar with. I mean, we played them last year in a close contest at their place, and then they participated in the Thanksgiving Classic here with Montgomery College and Henry Ford. Just like last year, this year's contest was a close one. I mean, you guys couldn't seem to pull away from the Rhinos. I think you ended up winning by 6, 89-83. What were some of the things you guys were able to do in that first game to come out with a victory?
Well, one of the biggest things was we turned them over 21 times, and we had 15. So that was 6 more opportunities we had to score just by turning them over 21 times. I thought we were pretty relentless defensively for the most part. Lamonte stepped up and put the ball in the basket for us pretty well throughout the whole game. And then we shot the ball pretty well from the free throw line, especially in the first half. It's a big stat for me. We want to make more free throws than our opponent attempts. And then late in the game, I thought we had some key possessions where we really executed our stuff. We got the back door in one of our sets, and then we got 2 full-court plays, which were executed really well. So our execution late in the game, I thought, was critical, because if we don't execute late, that game could have gone either way because it was close enough. But we beat a really big-time Division I JUCO. We schedule a tough, non-conference schedule. Obviously, intentionally, it will help us down the road, but it also helps me as a coach find our deficiency early, so I know really what to focus on as a coach.
Well, last night, another tough D1 school in here, the Statesmen of Richard Bland. They were a little short-handed last night. They played their first game against Sandhill and played them pretty tough. They had a 12-point lead at the half, but lost by 2. So a very close game there with the Flyers. We went up there last year and played those guys and were able to beat them 69-63. Last night's game, we got up by 12. They were able to go on a 20-2 run. They made it really close. Very hard-fought contest, but you won 82-75. What were the takeaways that you had from last night's contest?
Well, I don't want to take away from anything Richard Bland did, because their zone really frustrated us. I did not do a good job preparing for their zone, even though we did work on it. Clearly, I didn't do a good enough job as a coach. Their zone really bothered us. We had, I think it was almost 20 turnovers against the zone. One player had 9. I mean, we just did not take care of the ball. We threw careless passes, and that's on me. I've got to do a better job of preparing our guys to make better passes. And we got to catch the ball with 2 hands as well. So that was the biggest key for me in walking away from last night, is we got to value the ball and make hit singles and not home runs, make the easy play, and just pass the ball and catch the ball at a higher rate.
You mentioned just a moment ago free throws. And last night, you guys were 26 of 35, 74% from the free throw line. In 2 games, you've been to the line 77 times on the season, which is a lot. Tell us about the importance of getting to that free throw line. Certainly you got to make them, but getting to the free throw line and having the opportunity to score points without defensive pressure.
Well, my stats guru, who you're going to bring up in a little bit, can probably tell you in more detail, but him and I talk quite a bit about stats and which stats are really important in terms of winning. And something I learned in my 4.5 years in Chapel Hill is Coach Smith used to talk about how important points per possession are and what can you do to increase your points per possession. And one of the things is getting to the free throw line. Statistically, you score more points getting to the line than just about any other shot in the game. So, like I said earlier, one of our goals is to make more free throws than our opponents shoot. But this particular team over here to my right, I've got to do a better job of getting them to play without fouling for us to do that, because we fouled way too much in the first 2 games. But we have shot the ball fairly well. from the free throw line. Not as well as I'd like, but I'm pretty hard to please at times. But we've done okay. We've got to the line, and for the most part, I think we're shooting 73% on the year, I think is what you told me before we started tonight. And so I'm pretty proud of that.
Well, let's look at the conference, because we're going to get into conference play not too far away. In 15 of the last 17 years, we found ourselves as either conference champs or co-champs, and that's of the regular season. That's quite an accomplishment. This year, what can our fans expect from Region 10?
I haven't seen most of the teams play yet. I've scouted a few of them. I'm going back tomorrow night to watch 2 more. And so I'll have a better idea in a few more weeks once I get a chance to watch all the teams in our league. But the teams that I've seen are very talented, long, and athletic. So we're going to have our hands full every night. It's a dogfight no matter who you're playing or where you play. So it should be an exciting season to watch. A lot of exciting teams in this league that want to play fast. So it's going to be a fun year.
Well, as we do each show, we typically have a special guest, and you mentioned it just a moment ago. We do have the DDCC Hoops analytical stats guru with us tonight. So we'll bring Kevin Egan up, the assistant professor of mathematics here at the school. Also, I want to remind you, we're following on Facebook. We've got the link working now here. So if you want to ask the coach or Mr. Egan or any of the players a question, feel free to do so.
I want to say before I hand the headset to Kevin, I see Manuel Teague, my stats guru over there, game day stats, and his wife Channy, and Tim Gwillan, the dean of the college. I appreciate them coming out tonight as well. But here he is, Kevin Egan.
So welcome to the Coaches Show, Kevin Egan. Wearing the Storm shirt tonight. I like that. All right, if you would, now we said analytical stats guru, but you are you're an assistant professor of mathematics here at the college. Tell folks your role here at the school.
Yeah, I mean that's my day job. I teach a lot of these guys in class, but all our students, and teach 3 to 4 math classes every semester. And a couple of years ago, I approached Coach Ridge, and I said, hey, this sports world is kind of changing. There's all these new fancy statistics out there, and I'm always looking for ways to inspire math students. And I thought, everybody loves sports, and, could we calculate some of these and maybe get some students involved with it? And, I agree with Coach Ridge. Manuel Teague he's the floor, though. Without him, he's the foundation. And, basically I just take the data he collects game after game and then try to calculate some new age statistics with it and see if we can find a little something.
Do you combine any of that with watching game film yourself? Or you're at most of the ball games, aren't you?
Yeah, when I can get to the games, I get to the games. And then Coach Ridge has been gracious enough to give me access to this software package that we use. And most of the time I spend looking at the numbers, just because I think the numbers can tell you a lot. But then sometimes you get curious and you're like, how can this guy really be that good at, posting up on the left block? So you have to click it and watch the 12 times he dunked from the left block. But for the most part, those guys, they analyze film. I don't even know how many hours. So I kind of leave that part to them.
So how often do you meet with Coach? I mean, are you in his office after every game?
Almost never. And when we do get together, I appreciate his friendship. We usually don't talk shop. We talk about families or something else because, it's like modern life. You can just send an email. And what I think makes it work is that Coach Ridge is, he's a basketball guy, but he's also a math guy. He taught math for all this year. So I can send him an email, and I never have to worry about making it too technical. He just plows through it, got it, and there's really nothing much to talk about.
Do you do any work with the team, the players themselves?
So then occasionally Coach will have me come to one of their team meetings, and, I really cherish that opportunity because the best guys, they're just a great group of guys, and they're just like sponges. They want to learn, and they're like that in practice, but then also in film or in team meetings, they're like that. So I usually try to distill it down a little bit. every once in a while, coach will have a recruit, on campus, and, he'll introduce me to them. And I will tell the recruit almost the same thing every time. It's like, this is the most prepared college basketball team in the country. Not the most prepared junior college, just junior college basketball team. I mean, he runs this like it's an ACC program. And a lot of the players who leave and you talk to them later, they come back and they're like, yeah, we didn't know what we had here, and so they're already uber prepared. And so I don't want to overwhelm them either. I usually try to pull out 2 or 3 things and say, hey, we see something here. This one guy's doing this, or they're really good at this, or they're really weak at this. Let's see if we can attack it. And because they're smart guys. It doesn't take much, but I usually like to try to give them 2 or 3 nuggets.
Yeah. Well, while traditional stats like points per game and rebounds, assists, they're all relevant, you're taking a much deeper dive at this, though, aren't you?
Yes and no. I mean, Coach said it like, Coach Smith, I think years ago was like a forerunner with that. And the key word in basketball is efficiency. Like in other sports, they're all into these fancy stats too. But in basketball, if you watch the Carolina game tomorrow night, I guarantee you'll hear the word efficiency 20, 30 times. It's just all about points. Like your car is efficient if you get miles per gallon. But basketball teams and basketball players are efficient if they get points per possession. So we're always looking for just getting a little more efficiency out of the machine,
Since you've been tracking and analyzing the data related to this program, just curious if there's one particular stat that stands out about this program.
Yeah, so you can look at efficiency 2 ways. You can look at offensive efficiency. You want to be offensively, you want to get a lot of points per possession. But then coming this way, you want to keep them from getting a lot of points per possession. And you can actually look at the entire country of JUCO teams. And this might be off by a little bit, but they've been top 3 in defensive efficiency for the last at least 5 or 6 years. Like other stuff will go up and down. Like rebounding will move a little bit, or shooting will change a little bit. But Davidson-Davie Storm is always in one of those top 2 or 3 lines for defensive efficiency. And when Coach Ridge applies for that Lakers job someday, that should be at the top of the resume, because that's his trademark.
Now we got a couple of games, Kevin, under our belt this season, and the team's 2-0.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the current team? Haven't seen them for a couple of games, and what do you feel? How do you feel about the prospects of this season?
Yeah, really optimistic, really encouraged. And I know I'm up here as the stats guy. I'm going to give you a non-stats answer, and I just love what I see. They work really hard. Like Coach said, like he talked about his assistant coaches, but the coaching staff works like insanely hard, and these guys work really hard. I think most of this college probably doesn't even realize just how many hours and what a commitment it takes. And they play for each other. There really are no prima donnas or superstars, and if they just keep working hard and really being coachable and listening. I was actually listening to Roy Williams' podcast today, similar to this, and he said when he got hired at Carolina, he said it was a bit of a mess, and he told them, if you guys listen to me, and he goes, I'm crazy. That's what he said. He says, I'm crazy, but if you listen to me, we're going to make the tournament, and then we're going to win the national championship. And that's exactly what they did. But they bought in. They listened. And that's what I see with these guys. When the coaches talk, you can just see their eyeballs, and they're trying to absorb as much as they can. So that, more than stats, I think that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I just to tag on to what you said about these guys, one of the things that we as fans, we watch the games and we see that athleticism and we see what happens on the court. We don't see all of the hard work. And,
No.
and it's for these guys, and really for any college athlete, they've also got to be students. So
Right.
they've got to work on the court, work at their game, but they've also got to work at the academic piece of that too.
Yeah, no, they have signed up for a major commitment, and they haven't backed off from any of it. they could just be like run-of-the-mill college student and going out and partying, and they're taking classes, they're going to practice, they're going to film, they're getting extra shots. It's a commitment, but that's what they want, and that's really encouraging to see that from them.
One of the stats that I like to bring up quite often here on the show and brag on the team and on the program is the winning percentage here in Brinkley Gym. So since 2007, we've won over 92% of the games that we've played on this floor. I think we've only lost 18 games in that period. Why do you think it's so tough for teams to come in here and get a win against the Storm? I mean, that's not an anomaly. There's something to that.
That's a really good question. Like, did you write that question?
I did.
That's a great question. So the reason it's a great question is because, like, in this nerd community, I'm always like reading about all this stuff, and this is one of the biggest debates in that community. And Harvard, of all things, did a study on it, and I don't like their answer. Their answer was it has nothing to do with the crowd, it has nothing to do with this. They said it has to do with the referees. They said when referees come into an environment and they feel like it's a little hostile, it affects, they get influenced by it. And they did a big study, and I'm sure there's some truth to that, but I don't know. I don't know if I buy into that. I do think our fans are unique and are special, and I think this gym is just a unique environment. And, if I was an opposing player and there are people like right here yelling at me, it's not a coincidence that the winning percentage is that high.
There's something special. I mean, home court advantage, the teams definitely have in any athletic event, probably have an edge. They have some type of edge, but for it to be this pronounced,
right?
There's something magic about it, I think.
I know you've been around a little bit longer, and but every once in a while, you said when Coach Ridge and I sit down and talk, we were talking the one day about what this gym used to be, and even this lobby, and it's come, such a long way, even in the time I've been here. But, he and this program has built that gym into that, and it's intimidating, I think.
Well, having been around here for the past few years, Kevin, I want to ask you, what advice would you like to share or give to these players sitting to our right here as they make their way through this season?
Yeah, no, just cherish it. You blink and it's over, and you're going to be an old man like me working some job and paying bills, and it is like a special time. And I know it's a little bit of growing pains. There are times where you're like, man, he is pushing me hard, and this is tough, and I just want to go home and watch Netflix and just stay with it, because it's growing you. It's going to make you a better dad, a better husband, a better coworker, and it's bigger than basketball.
So I just wanted to share this with you. Last night, as I was leaving the gym, Kip Childers, who is the PA guy here, does a phenomenal job. He said, "Who's your guest tomorrow night? Who's your special guest?" I said, "Kevin Egan." He said, "Oh, man." He says, "I wish I could be there." He said, "I need to bring my daughter." He said, "My daughter will swear that he is the best teacher in school that she has ever had." So he wanted me to share that with the audience tonight.
She was a great student. I miss having her around.
Well, we appreciate your time here on the show. Thanks for coming out and doing this, and for your work here at the community college and your contributions to helping with the success of the program.
It's an honor. It's fun. I love it.
Thank you. Kevin Egan. All right, Aiden Taylor going to step up here now. Aiden, 6'2" sophomore guard out of Charleston, South Carolina. Princeton High School in North Carolina last year had a good season, 7.5 points a ball game, really good free throw. We talked about free throws a minute ago, 80% free throw shooter last year. You're off on the same kind of pace this year, 14 points a game this year in 2 games, 5.5 rebounds a game, 4 steals per game, 5 turnovers per game. We're going to fix that, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to talk to you, again, congratulations on the 2-0 start. Let's ask you a little bit about your first year experience last year with the program.
It was good. I really liked it here. I learned a lot about myself. I grew a lot, and I really just appreciate Coach allowing me to be here.
What was your favorite memory from last year?
I'll probably have to say the Henry Ford game.
Okay, yeah.
Just how competitive it is, how good that game was.
I will never forget the picture of you passing the ball off to DJ for the three-point shot to win the ball game. Fantastic ending to a basketball game. I think that was my favorite memory from last year as well. Specific things you worked on over the summer to get better. Anything specific?
Yeah, I really worked on my shooting over the summer because last year I didn't really shoot as good as I wanted to. So I knew over the summer I really needed to work on my shooting and my conditioning so I could play longer.
Well, I mean, you came out this year on fire. I mean, 17 points, I think, in your first game. And last night, maybe 14-ish, 15 points maybe. Mm-hmm. I think so. Your shooting has come a long way. How do you think your role is going to change this year?
I have a leadership role now. So being a captain, I have to lead these guys, to push them to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish this year.
Yeah. Kevin and I were on the broadcast last night, and we noticed you're definitely more vocal on the court this year so far, and we could tell you were assuming a leadership role. So keep growing with that. Let's talk about the Brinkley Bash. Mm-hmm. I think you and Ethan English duked it out in the finals of that three-point contest. He got you by one, I think, though, didn't he? I know you guys are all competitive on the court when it talks about playing against opponents, but how competitive are you guys amongst yourselves?
We're really competitive. We push each other hard every day during practice.
What about goals for this year? Anything specifically you want to accomplish as an individual player, but also what's your goals for the team?
I don't really have any individual goals that I have, but the team goal is to win the championship. That's the only goal.
Guys are getting so close. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. It's going to happen when you're – how do you feel about this current team?
I feel good about this team. We got a lot of talent.
What's your relationship like with the gentleman over here to our right, Coach
Ridge? Good relationship, yeah. He really trusts me, and he really pushes me, so I really appreciate it.
What do you enjoy most, Aiden, about being part of this elite basketball program?
I'll probably say the culture and the family environment.
Do you have any pregame rituals that you go through? Anything on game day? Anything that you go through to get you ready for a contest?
Nah, I just wake up and hoop.
Okay. Just turn it on.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you, your brother Jaheim had a really nice career here at DDCC before moving on to Lenore Ryan. Do you still lean on Jaheim for any advice about kind of navigating things here, or do you not have to go to your big brother anymore?
Not as much anymore, but we still talk every now and then.
Okay. He's got the glasses. You've got to get you some. You got to get you some shades, nah?
That's not me.
That's
not me.
Do you have a nickname?
Nah, they just call me Cap since I'm the captain, but
okay.
I don't got nothing else to do.
I like that. I'll use that on the broadcast. How about that? All right. Well, good luck to you this season. We appreciate you, and you did a great job up here. Okay? Aiden Taylor. Nice job. Nice job, Caps. All right, Dane Stewart going to step in here now. Dane, a 5'11 guard out of Mooresville High School. Dane, you were injured last year, right? So you got hurt early and didn't get a chance to play, a redshirt member of the Storm. This year, man, you're off to a really good start. You had a great game. First game, had a super game last night, on both sides of the court. Ask you a little bit about last year. How tough was it for you? I know you came in here and you had high hopes and you got injured in that Brinkley Bash last year. Mm. How tough was it for you to be redshirted and kind of watch the players play last year?
It was real tough because I had to sit on the sidelines and watch my brothers, people who I consider family, really cool friends, do something that I just couldn't help them with, and it was really tough. But I knew that one day I would be out there.
Well, even though you didn't get to play, were there things that you learned last year that you carry over to this year?
Yeah, everything Coach taught us from last year, even though I didn't get to play, I was still at practice and I still was able to be coached. And I just carried it over so I could help the new guys coming in.
So how do you feel health-wise? Are you good?
Yeah, way better.
Shoulder
way
good?
Better. Yes, sir.
Anything over the ask you the same question I asked Aiden. Anything over the summer that you thought you might work on to improve your game?
My shot, getting on the gun. Coach told me at my height, I'm gonna have to be able to shoot a three to get any type of scholarship or go anywhere. So I got on the gun a lot this summer.
Well, 5'11", at the Brinkley Bash last year, you won the dunk contest, right?
Yeah.
You defended the title this year, and I think you won it again this year.
Yes, sir.
2 years in a row. How were you able to do that over much taller competition?
Well, I've been short my whole life, so dealing against competition that's much taller than me isn't anything new. So I just carried that over and was able to just jump higher than my opponents.
So how do you see describe your role on the team this year? How do you see your role?
I'm trying to step into more of a leadership role. Like I said, I was able to carry some things over from last year, what I learned, so I can not put the new guys in the same position that I was, having to learn things like from the fresh.
Specific goals you got for the season?
Not any personal specific goals. I just want to, help the team get to the national championship and win it all this year.
We'd like to see that banner hanging in Brinkley Gym, by the way. That'd be nice. Mm-hmm. Trophy in the trophy case as well. I ask you also the same question. Talk about your relationship with Coach Ridge or Coach Dumas or Coach Allen. How is that?
I mean, with all three of them, I know that I can go to them at any point in time that I need to. Anytime I need anything, any help, I can go to them. So it's a good relationship.
What do you think about your teammates here? How do you assess the team so far?
A lot of guys, man. A lot of guys. We'll do anything for them. We'll kill for them, run through a wall for them. Love them.
Do you have so after school here? Any things that you want to accomplish? Any goals you've got after becoming after leaving here as a student and athlete? Anything you want to do next?
I want to go play at a 4-year. I'm gonna get my degrees here, and just transfer over.
Keep working hard. You can make it happen. Mm-hmm. Any pregame rituals for you?
First thing I do every pregame is I pray, ask God to give me the strength to play to the best of my ability and help my teammates so we can carry out the dub.
That's a good pregame ritual to have, young man. And any nickname for you?
Nah, I don't got a nickname.
You got a nickname?
Dane.
Okay.
All calls me Dane sometimes.
Okay. All right. Dane, appreciate you. Looking forward to watching you play this year. Glad you're healthy and have a great year.
Thank you.
Dane Stewart. Well-spoken young man.
Both of them. Well-spoken.
Right.
Great job, Dane.
Good job, guys. Both
Good job,
of you.
Aiden.
All right, we'll talk real quick about this Saturday, Coach. 3 o'clock, we got a game against another D1 opponent, Denmark Tech, coming in here. Last year, 1-point win for us, 81-80. What do we expect from the Panthers on Saturday?
Well, just like Richard Bland, we barely beat them last year. So, we got to stay humble and realize they're going to come in here and crank up a bunch of threes. They're going to try to beat us off the bounce. They've got a lot of talented guards, so we're really going to have to guard on the ball and then block out and rebound. There's going to be a lot of long rebounds, so I've got to emphasize tomorrow morning at film session blocking out, owning space, and rebounding the basketball with 2 hands. And then, of course, we got to get out in transition because they're going to crank them up.
Well, looking ahead, just giving the fans a little sneak preview of some of the big games, and there's a lot of big games on the schedule this year. Of course, Sand Hills is always a big game, but there's a special treat to kick off the new year. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Most of the teams that were part of that exciting Thanksgiving Classic are going to be coming back this year, but to kick off the new year, I think January 2nd and 3rd, you got Montgomery College coming back. Maybe the 3rd year in a row that they've come here.
I believe it is.
Henry Ford College going to be back here with an exciting overtime win against them last year. And then Caldwell Community College is going to come in and enjoy a nice couple of days of basketball here. How are you able to schedule that again? I mean, that's a lot of really good teams in a 2-day period.
So it's interesting. In the lobby of our hotel in the national tournament, those discussions with coaches usually sometimes evolve. And the last 2 years at the Nationals, we've had that discussion 2 years ago with the Henry Ford coach, who's coming back again this year. But last year I had that discussion with a couple coaches and they really wanted to come, but they ended up not being able to come. So we actually scheduled it New Year's to accommodate a couple of coaches that were in the lobby of our hotel that originally thought they could come at New Year's, and then they, ended up not being able to come. So that's kind of how it evolved this year into New Year's Classic instead of being Thanksgiving Classic. So we're excited about Henry Ford back for the second year in a row. And we've played them 2 other times in the Nationals, so we've got some history with them. We've been to, I think, 3 overtime games with them, and we've been blessed enough to win all 3. So I know they're hungry to come in here and beat us because we've had some incredibly close games in overtime with them. And then Montgomery College is one of the better T2 teams in that Region 10 in Maryland. So they're going to be well coached. They're going to be talented. It's going to be a big-time test to play back-to-back games. And for me personally, it's good prep for the national tournament to play back-to-back days with short turnaround without having a practice in between that day 1 and day 2, because that's what you got to do in the national tournament.
We're looking forward to that. That's going to be a great way to kick off the new year. We want to talk real quick about, we always talk about family here at DDC, and in the spirit of family, we've got several Storm alumni that are still playing at some 4-year schools, even got someone playing overseas, and I'll share with you, Zy Dawkins was watching the game last night and was communicating back and forth to Kevin and I on Facebook, so that was pretty cool. So if you would, let our listeners know about these alumni, how they're doing in their respective teams.
Well, Zy's a perfect example of someone who's really put the time in. I mean, not just while he was here, obviously, but every year he continues to get better, and it's because of his commitment to excellence and preparation. And so proud of the young man. I mean, he's killing it overseas professionally, and he killed it at Converse when he left here. That team had Javion, LJ, Zy, Tim. They had a lot of guys that went on and played. But when you step back and think about what he did here, and he had an incredible career here, but what he's done since he's left here is truly amazing to me. And it speaks to volumes to his character and his work ethic. Now, we also have 3 sets of 2 players, former players that played at Davidson-Davie, that are playing at 4-year schools together. Aaron Ross and Keith Reese at Schwann, Jaheim and Chase at LR, and Trey and Najee are at Barton. So for me personally, these guys are, in some cases, like these 3 cases, are moving on and continue to play together, which I think is really cool that they wanted to do that, number 1. And number 2, that it worked out that 4-year coaches are offering multiple guys on our team. That's not very common. Then you got Jonathan Faust playing his senior year at Lynchburg, and he's one of their best players, and that's not surprising at all. And then Mike Wade, when he comes off this injury, will probably be the starting point guard at Montreat. So I believe that's a total of 8 guys playing at 4-year schools this year. And then you got Zy overseas. And there's another young man we don't talk much about because he's so far removed from here, but his name's Kyle Ridley. He played on the first team that went to a Final Four about 8 years ago. He's still playing overseas professionally. He's getting close to 30 years old, but he is still playing.
Wow. So a lot of players still playing. Jonathan Faust, I saw him play in the ODAC last year. Just saying, he had the 5th highest shooting percentage in the league last year, which was pretty phenomenal. And then Shawan and Lenore Ryan, I think, play each other tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So last couple of years, last question for you. We've had some nice additions to the game experience here, Brink. Of course, the big scoreboard is really, really nice, the digital scores table. We also added last night score and clock
on the stream,
to the game stream. So, we can't do those kind of things if it weren't for sponsors and folks helping support this program. So I'll let you take a moment to recognize our top sponsors.
Well, we're always looking to add on to the program. Right over here to your left, we bought some podiums that were not cheap. To highlight 3 of our national runner-up and third-place trophies in the national tournament. So we're blessed to have some donors that helped us with that. So I just really want to thank those big-time donors and really all our donors. But, of course, Todd Hunt down the road here is our top donor. And then you got the Hill Group, Justin Strickland and Strickland Brothers, Fidelity Bank, Mohawk. I could keep going on and on and on. And then just last night, we had a fan come up to me before the game and hand me a check for scholarships going forward. So there's lots of needs of the program going forward, and eventually down the road at some point as the athletic director, I continue to have talks with Jenny about possibly adding more sports. And as you well know, in the state of North Carolina, we cannot use any state funds for athletics. So obviously raising money for future sports is very important and near and dear to my heart as the athletic director, not as a basketball coach. But I would at some point like to add some sports. So we've got to really get out and do some fundraising for that.
Well, we certainly appreciate all of the Storm supporters. We appreciate you, the Storm fans, for following and supporting this program. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you a lot. Kevin Egan for being our guest tonight. We thank Kevin for the work he does for the school and the program. Aiden Taylor, Dane Stewart, you guys did a great job. Of course, Patrick Stevens to my left here, and KT Tatum for the camera work tonight. We appreciate that. Any closing comments?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about Kevin. Not only is Kevin helpful to me as a coach and these guys, and I'm sure you sense this just from knowing him and being on the show tonight, his humility is contagious. He is just an incredible human being, not just math teacher and friend, but his humility is incredible. And I need to be more like that. And I have so much respect for Kevin. He makes everyone around him better. He's intelligent. He's got an incredible work ethic, and I so appreciate his friendship and what he does for this program. And I think these guys to my right probably would echo that. And I'm just blessed to have him in my life, not just as a colleague, but as a friend. And then I want to also thank Manuel and his wife for all that they do. Manuel's been with us for so many years and loyal to this program, and I'm just so blessed to have people like that. And then, of course, Tim Gwillem. I mean, my goodness, the man does everything I ask, from drive the bus to Florida through the night. I mean, he's just an incredible friend. He stops by my office every day to talk shop about basketball and Storm basketball. So just really, really blessed to have so many people that love these guys to my right in this program. And Patrick, thank you so much for all you do, and of course you, Miles, as well.
Tim got some nice big replays, nice replays for the board last night. So we thank you for tuning us in. Want to remind you, next game going to be Saturday right here at Brinkley Gym against Denmark Tech. That's at 3 o'clock. Come out and watch the Storm tackle another D1 opponent. And our next coaches show going to be Thursday, November 21st at 7 o'clock. You can tune us in here on Facebook or YouTube, or you can come out here. We've got seats. We'd love to have you out here.
Absolutely.
Well, we thank you for tonight, and Coach, we'll see you Saturday. Good luck to the Tar Heels tomorrow, by the way, and go Storm.
Go Storm.